Yo guys, welcome to the stream. Things have changed a little bit on the software side. OBS is working a lot more smoothly now. This is awesome. Start a question and answer or a poll. Cool. I can start a question and answer. Favorite game. Favorite games. Best games of all time. What is all this stuff? There's a bunch of questions and stuff. End question and answer. And then it goes back to normal. That's interesting. And then I can put a poll, start a poll. Let's see. Okay, you can put a poll and stuff. I don't really have any ideas for a poll right now. I guess a death battle or something is kind of what I'm trying to do. Anyway, guys, welcome to the stream. I didn't put this on the Discord channel because I'm trying to make a schedule right now. So I'm just doing this stream right now because I'm getting back into the habit of streaming. Start question and answer. Start a poll. Start a poll. And then something about death battles, who would win, Goku or Superman, right? Something like that. Okay. I'm trying to find inspiration again. I have all of these new AI tools, and I don't know. It's finally when it becomes possible, then you run into the writer's block. So I'm having some serious writer's block right now, and that's why I started the stream. Okay, so all of this is working. Alright, everything's working so far. Great. Okay, so it looks like so far everything's working pretty smoothly. It's good to be back into streaming. What else? I gotta get food too. I gotta order some food, but hold on. I gotta order some food as well. Just give me 1 second, guys. So I'm gonna go to Grubhub and get some food. Anyway, yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to do tonight is two things. I guess I'm trying to set up a schedule to start streaming again, but also I'm trying to figure out some death battles that I want to do for my AI project. I'm loving this AI stuff that you can just make AI comic books now. The video is pretty bad though. That's the only problem. So hold on, I gotta make sure that I have the correct address on file. Sheesh. Okay, I don't want to dox myself either on stream, but I'm trying to get food. Some Burger King, maybe. Alright, I think I know what I want. I'm just gonna get a pizza, dude. Yeah, it's definitely pizza time. And then a 2-liter. Okay. Cool. End pull. Interesting. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just getting a pizza real quick. I'm so hungry right now. I'm gonna get a pizza and a 2-liter. And yeah, bring it over this way. Excellent. Okay, I'm ready. Sorry about that. Wait, no, I'm not. Okay, it's on the way. Okay, great. So, let's go ahead and get started on this game. This game is amazing. I love this thing. But I don't know. I guess I was just yapping about current events and stuff as well. But mainly, I really want to do death battles. So, I don't know. I'm trying to like bring back the channel, but there's all these, as you can see, there's all these ideas, I guess, that I'm having. So I'm just trying to collect my thoughts. And I figured, I might as well do a test stream to get all of my thoughts together. Sorry I'm a little bit out of it. Just because I had some drama go down with my, I have baby mama drama. So I'm like a little bit down in the dumps right now, but I don't know. I'm confident, I guess, that everything is going to work out with that. I think we've done everything that we need to do with that. Or I've done everything I need to do. So, I don't know. I think my personal drama is pretty much taken care of, but I'm still I'm still kind of sad right now, so if I sound kind of like weird, that would be why. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, this game is like really frustrating because of the miss. Like you're constantly missing in this stupid game. So even with my most accurate bow, what happens? Ugh, sheesh, I'm yawning, seriously? I slept like 12 hours straight last night. And I've been having to sleep more often because, I don't know, for some reason lately, I just haven't been able to sleep. I don't know why. And I've been feeling sick and stuff, so I had to I've been feeling sick and stuff, so I had to sleep, man. I took the day off work yesterday, and then I slept like 12 hours straight. And I feel great, but I'm still yawning, and I wonder if maybe I should take another nap, probably, to be safe before work. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm yawning, right? So it must mean something. It could just mean that, I'm groggy and I slept too much. But I don't think so, because I had to catch up on sleep, because I missed sleep a few nights for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what the hell was going on with me last week, but gosh, I was so hormonal. I don't know. Yesterday was such a release for me, I guess, that I was finally able to sleep. I don't know. I've just been having a crazy time lately. Anyway, I'm sorry for the trauma dump. Oh my gosh, constantly missing the miss game, bro. Miss game. Alright, so my next move is this, because Ward has to get down there, so short sword on this guy. Not to mention Ward's only at 4 HP, so he needs to get the hell out of here and out of combat. Alright, and then after that, what happens? After that, I need to cripple this dude. Or really, I need to cripple this dude, but I don't have the damage. And she can't even reach him. This guy has to move, but even if he moved, I can't step on this spot and reach this guy with Sylvis. So Sherlock really is the only one who can hit him. Oh, okay. This is not looking good because he has pretty terrible accuracy, but anyway, let's go ahead. Horrible. So I don't know who can even hit that guy. Nobody can hit that guy except these two. Ruby can't even hit him either. Okay, what about this guy? So I need my archers basically for him, and then Sylvis needs to be for him to cripple this guy with a longbow with an arrow. Okay, so I do need to burn some turns right now. Okay, that guy moved out of the way. It's kind of helpful. What else do I need to do? This guy is like permanently crippled, so I need to like get everybody to kill this guy before he gets captured. I kind of need this guy to move first. And then once he's here, he could like capture my guy, so I gotta be very, very careful. I think I'd rather have Kramer wait for them in the. I think I'd rather have Kramer wait for them like and ambush them because Dean needs to heal some more. I should lure these guys out because these guys are coming out from here and they're attacking us. So they're gonna rush east. They're gonna follow us. So we should just lure them. They're gonna need backup though. So I think I should have Kramer here just waiting in the wings. These guys are going to come down. And then I should just have Kramer here waiting for them. Yeah. And then these guys need to be ready for this pirate over here, so that this pirate doesn't capture. My unit over here, my Volo. I don't know how didn't remember that name. That's a pretty memorable name. Okay, so I think this is a good setup right here. I think this is where I want everybody to be. Now Reese needs to be, well, okay, there's been some movement of characters, right? So I think I can re-roll now for damage. So can I actually hit my target, or it's still missing? So who has better accuracy here? This guy has way better accuracy. But yeah, once I have a better schedule of like when I'm gonna be streaming and stuff, I'll start announcing the streams. But I'm still working on a schedule right now though. That's the thing. Okay, now it's just my archers left and Ruby. Okay, so Ruby can only hit this guy. So I think Ruby's next move is pretty obvious. Harpoon, bro. This next move is obvious. And of course it misses. Everybody missed. I'm pretty sure Christine's gonna miss, but I'm just gonna give it a go. Nope. Sheesh, everybody misses. That's okay. Okay, Ruby, she's missing with the harpoon, she's missing with the sword. But at least she gets to attack twice with the sword, which means that she gets like double XP, right? Yes. Does she attack twice with the spear? No. So then it's worth doing it with the sword so that she gets 2 experience points. Because, okay, the way that this game works is that every time you attack, you get experience on your weapon. So if she's hitting twice, she's getting more experience on the weapon, right? Which means like speed is super broken in this game because speed is how you hit twice, and if you hit twice, you get double experience on your weapons, right? So let me just double check that on Grok. Let's see, Gemini. I actually have a subscription to Google Gemini. So when you attack twice during a turn in Berwick, Saga does that give you 1 or 2 weapon EXP. Comes from a multiplicative weapon like a brave weapon, or additional like a desperation skill. If you're using a weapon that multiplies the number of hits written as ×2 or ×3 on the weapon, you generally only get 1 weapon EXP roll. The logic, these weapons multiply the strike within a single hit attempt. The game checks EXP growth based on attempt, not individual animation. Okay, that makes sense. Additional hits, if your double attack comes from a skill like Desperation Pursuit or a weapon that specifically adds an extra attack, you get 2 weapon EXP rolls. Okay, so right, so if you have speed, right? If your double attack comes from a skill like Desperation, adds an extra attack, you get 2 weapon EXP rolls. So if it's an extra attempt, then no, and if it's an extra attack, then yes, huh? written as +1 in description, like the knight sword. I see. If it's ×1, then no. If it's +1, then yes. You get 2 weapon EXP rolls. The logic: these mechanics effectively trigger a second round of combat. Unlike many Fire Emblem games, Baroque Saga uses a hidden experience value EEXP where 10 EEXP equals 1 skill point. Whether you get the experience is determined by rolls rather than a guaranteed flat amount. Whether you get the experience is determined by rolls. Huh. You gain experience just by attempting a hit, swinging. You gain experience for attempting a hit, but once you reach a certain threshold within a map, you must successfully land a hit to keep gaining more. You only gain experience if the attack successfully hits the enemy. So this is based on skill. Okay. The higher your current weapon's skill, the lower the probability that a roll. Okay, so skill is how much your experience you have on that weapon. So if you're between 10 and 20, you attempt and you get. Once you hit level 20 though on a weapon though, okay, once you hit level 20, then you only get experience when you actually land a hit. Okay, that makes sense. And you hit twice with speed. And then you get double weapon experience with speed. Yeah. So speed is pretty broken. It's worth maxing out speed first just to get the weapon experience. And then you max out your attack. If I can re-roll level up stats by save scumming, then should I level up the speed stat first so that I get more doubles for weapon for weapon EXP? If so, which characters would this be best on? Speed does not actually give you a second attack. It usually just allows for counter attack. This is why speed is tricky for weapon EXP. What's the best way to farm weapon EXP then? The fastest. That seems to be the easiest farming mechanism in this game is weapon EXP. But the confusing thing about that is weapon EXP is like invisible, so you can't even see it. Since you stop gaining EXP after turn 25, you can't just park a unit in a bush for 3 hours. You have to be aggressive and efficient. I like that. Yeah. So apparently in Fire Emblem you can do EXP by just hiding in a bush. The additional hit strategy. As we discussed, multiplicative weapons ×2 don't work, but additive weapons +1 do to maximize rolls per turn. Plus weapons like Knight Sword or Swift Spear. Swift Bow for archers are your best friends. They trigger an entirely separate roll for your weapon. Abuse Deathmatch. This is the holy grail for farming. Volo and Clifford have this skill, yeah, and so does Leon. It forces 5 rounds of combat. This is potential weapon EXP rolls in a single turn. That's true. That's really good. So that means that with like weak characters such as Leon, I can just miss for 5 turns. But that's okay because you're getting EXP every single time. My gosh. Dude, I love AI. Stack Adept and continue. Put your farmers in the commander aura of Reese to boost their hit rates. More successful hits, more EXP rolls since once your skill is above 20. Okay. The best grinding maps. Chapter 9.1. Oh my god, Chapter 9.11. The community generally agrees that 9.1 side mission is the best place to farm. The targets there are wooden barriers. The targets are wooden barriers and barracks. These structures have 0 avoid. You have 100 accuracy, which is rare in this game. Since you need successful hits to gain experience after 20, bullying a literal wall is the fastest way to cap out your weapon ranks. Interesting. Training your weak units. Some units are harder to train because their base hits are abysmal, like Adele or Albert with spears. Yeah. The unarmed ward bait. Equip ward who has the robust skill and high defense with no weapon. Use him to bait enemies once the enemy is surrounding him and he's used their turn. Swap in your trainee to poke them. Pila and Agons. For spear users, throwing users, Pila, Magnon. They allow you to attack from 0-1 range and often trigger a double hit animation if the enemy cannot counter. Interesting. So deathmatch, use adept and continue, right? Adept. And +1 weapons like a swift spear. Okay, so where do I get swift spear and swift bow? Where do I get spear and swift bow and any other swift weapons in Berwick Saga? The swift spear is one of the most valuable training tools. Where to get it? You must craft it. You will see enemies like Zephyros wielding one, but you cannot capture or obtain it from him. That sucks. Typically requires rare materials like silver ignot or specific spear components. Check the blacksmith. Okay. So now I need the stupid silver ingot. Swift bow is highly coveted because the bow skill is notoriously slow to level up. Where to get it? This is primarily an enemy-only dropper found in late-game chest. You can sometimes find it on high-ranking Imperial archers. To get it, usually need to use mercenary units with the maim or mug skill to force the enemy to drop their equipped weapons. Use Sylvis with aim to ensure you get the target while trying to force a drop. Damn, dude. So you gotta capture them to get the swift bow. The knight sword. This swift equivalent for sword users is much easier to find than the bow. Best use. Give it to Reese or Laurentia to help them reach their weapon skill caps quickly. Yeah, I need to give the knight sword to somebody. Damn, dude. There's so many strategies in this game. That's what I love about this game is there's so much to learn. Like, there's a lot of strategy. Other notable +1 weapons, Cutlass. These are unique to Faye and Faramir. They provide +1 strike and high crit. Harperia, a high level sword that provides +1 strike, usually found as a rare drop or a late game shop item. I guess by rare drop it means you have to capture it. So I really have to look at my enemy weapons and make sure that there's no like +1 weapons on them. or late game shop item. Okay, so you can even buy these items in the shop later. Graham, Reese's personal sword obtained via a letter in chapter 5 also functions as a +1 weapon, makes it the best tool for capping sword skill. If you're using a +1 weapon to farm EXP, do not kill the enemy. Since you get 2 rolls per turn, you are doubling your efficiency. If your skill is over 20, make sure you have enough accuracy to actually land the hits. Otherwise, the rolls won't count towards your experience. Attack a high defense enemy like a knight or a structure like a gate. Yeah. You get 2 rolls per turn, you are doubling your efficiency. You get 2 rolls per turn, you are doubling your efficiency. Yeah, of course. That's the whole point of getting these +1 weapons. So Cutlass is for Fae Harperia, a high-level sword that provides +1, usually found as a rare drop or late game shop. And okay, so enemies have them and they drop. Several Imperial Knights in chapters 4, 6, and 9 carry them. That's where the Swift Sword, the Knight Sword. Okay. The Swift Bow, you can get it by high-ranking Imperial Archers. You can get it usually to make them drop it and capture them. Yeah, you gotta capture it. Yeah, this game is all about capture. Typically requires rare materials such as silver, ignore, or specific spear components. Check the blacksmith request list in the city regularly. The blacksmith requests. Okay. So I have to go to the blacksmith and give him a silver ingot. Okay, where's the silver ingot? Yeah, dude, Google Gemini so far has been like the best AI. Interesting. Okay, I mean, I think I pretty much got all the information that I need for this.
So it's so.
Okay. That was a lot of studying that I had to do for this game. So, yeah. The answer to the question is having 2 hits does increase your weapon experience. And for Ruby right now, she's getting weapon experience from just attempting to hit. Okay. So that was good. 2 hits with a sword, that's fine. Next. I gotta try to hit this guy. Finally. How about Sherlock? Okay, this turn I'm getting hits. So that's another thing that I realized about this game is it depends on the turn order. Your accuracy depends on turn order. Like, what's going on with that? Let me ask AI actually. I love AI. How come accuracy depends on turn order? How come accuracy depends on turn order? I love that I can just ask AI anything. In Berwick Saga, accuracy feels like it fluctuates because of the simultaneous turn system, which is a massive departure from player phase, enemy phase structure you see in Fire Emblem. Right. In Fire Emblem, all your characters move at once, and then the enemies all move at once. But in this one, you move, and then the enemy moves in the middle of one turn. While turn order doesn't technically change your raw math stats like accuracy, it creates a dynamic accuracy environment based on initiative and suppression. The damage ends combat rule. This is the most important mechanic in the game in a standard exchange. Initiator attacks if they hit and do damage, the combat ends immediately. The defender does not get to counterattack. So if the initiator hits and does the hit, they don't counterattack. If they miss, the defender counterattacks, right? Unless they have a specific skill. Because of this being the one to move first in the turn order is a massive defensive buff. If you hit, your accuracy effectively becomes a 100% dodge rate because the enemy never gets to swing back. Right, so having high accuracy means that you hit them and they cannot counter unless they have a very specific skill. Vantage, right? Unless they have vantage or something. The battle cry is suppression effect. When a unit is attacked, they often become suppressed or lose their ability to react. If you move a unit late in a turn after they have already been targeted by multiple enemies, their ability to dodge or counterattack is often diminished. What? If you move a unit late after they have been targeted by multiple enemies, their ability to dodge or counter is diminished. I see. So you become less accurate or whatever by the end of the round. I don't know if that's true. If you have 5 units and the enemy has 15, the enemy gets to move 3 units for every one of yours. This means the enemy can set up accuracy bonuses. Like support bonuses or surrounding a unit before you even get a chance to react. I like that. I like that speed is based off of numbers in this. Or I guess turn order is based off numbers. For mounted units, accuracy is directly tied to how many hexes you moved before attacking the lunge mechanic. Every hex moved adds to your damage but can penalize or buff your accuracy depending on the weapon. If you wait until the end of the turn to move, your order of operation changes. If an enemy blocks your path before your turn comes up, you can no longer get that running start, causing your accuracy and damage to plummet compared to if you have moved first. So if you're on a horse, depending on the weapon, the number of steps affects accuracy. Of course, at that rate, the highest accuracy is the most important. Since the turn order is simultaneous, an enemy might move into a forest or behind a gate right before you attack them if you checked your hit rate at the start set. If the enemy moves into a 20 avoid tile before your turn, the accuracy drops to 50. The game doesn't use double RNG system like Fire Emblem. It uses single brutal 1 to 100 roll. I think that's my food. Hold on, guys.
Berwick Saga, Lasperia Chronicle Chapter 174 is an isometric SRPG made by the creator of the Fire Emblem series, Shozo Kaga, and lies squarely at the logical endpoint of the Fire Emblem rabbit hole. Being an SRPG created by one of the most notorious lunatics to ever hold a map editor, Berwick Saga has gained some degree of notoriety for being exceptionally hostile to players going in blind on account of the complexities in
Honestly, this game is already
involved
hard
in
by
map design,
like.
and the frequently
Honestly, this game is already hard by like. I don't know. This game is already hard early, and it seems like by chapter 13, this game just gets impossible mode. This is such a hard game.
gameplay mechanics typical of a Kaga game. Since Berwick Saga never received a Western release, well-written guides or blog posts on the game are exceptionally hard to come by, and almost all of them are older than my cat and stopped updating halfway through. Players going in wanting to know what to expect are then forced to glue their eyes to the scattered articles of Ceritus Wiki, as almost a last bastion of accurate information to rely on. During my playthrough of Berwick Saga, I have experienced a similar frustration, and that's why I'm here. I intend to start and finish a job in the year 2024, and finally get a good, solid compendium of a Berwick Saga guide published in video format. Before we begin, allow us to establish some guidelines and disclaimers. Firstly, the formats of subsequent videos in this playlist will be exceptionally short. Full playthroughs of Berwick Saga exist on this platform, and you can definitely find them with little effort. But I suspect that watching a full 5.5 hour livestream VOD on 2 maps isn't the best way to know what to do as a player. There will be a video made for every map in this game, and their length will be relatively condensed to ensure watchability as I give my best shot to retain your attention for its entire duration. All of this will be categorized into a single playlist for ease of access, and every subsequent video will have a link back to this private radio to avoid regurgitating administrative information. Secondly, at this point I cannot stress enough, these videos are not a walkthrough. Each video will provide a quick summary for the map's context, design, objectives, gimmicks, side objectives, and things to watch out for, and then go no further than that. The aim of these videos are to arm first-time players with enough information to know what to expect, but not hold your hands through the game or to enforce a best possible strategy or team composition. I will highlight all the challenging points and aim to provide several ideas to get through them, and always refrain from claiming that any one of these ideas are optimal. You as the player are given a myriad of tools to get through every point of this game, and the vastness of your toolkit depends on your team. The beauty of this game is discovering the unique capabilities of your army and the interesting strategical layers they enable. I do not seek to strip that layer of freedom from you, but I will aim to highlight their abilities to point you in the right direction. Third, if you're coming into Berwick Saga from the Fire Emblem franchise, bear in mind that although Kaga created the earliest Fire Emblems, the systems in this game, though reminiscent of Fire Emblem, are uniquely different. I will not have time to go over all the things in Berwick Saga. I will instead point you to this excellent video by Rodi, where they use the map of Chapter 1 to teach you most of the mechanics. Please check this excellent video out. I will also do my own attempt to highlight the unique mechanics of Berwick whenever they are applicable to the map, scattered throughout the entire series. But if you want to get all the intricacies of this game's mechanics beforehand, consider this video prerequisite but not mandatory viewing. I will be sure to eventually cover almost everything Rodi does whenever they become relevant to the map, as they are all core mechanics of the game, but having your own understanding before going into these videos will never hurt. Fourth, I will highlight playable characters as they come in. Berwick Saga has a cast of 34 playable characters and 1 playable guest. In most presentations of Berwick Saga, you often see a tier list of these characters categorized in the traditional format of S rank to F rank. While I understand why this format is used, familiarity, easy relatability, digestibility, etc., I personally believe this is the worst possible way to highlight the playable characters in this game. With possibly one exception, no character is truly useless. What people, myself included, consider a low-tier character might actually be your best possible solution to a specific map. Each character's toolset is wholly unique to them, which is a design very unlike Fire Emblem, where you can sometimes get 5 or 6 different units that serve the exact same role in the same game, and therefore just go with the best one at all times. The uniqueness of each character's skill set is what I aim to highlight. It is as if you have a keychain of 34 keys, and all of them will eventually unlock several of the hundreds of locks that Kaga has put in your way. As such, my goal is to point out the things that each of your keys are able to do, and highlighting their individual abilities and weaknesses, and refraining from outright tiering them to the best of my ability. One note is that since I aim to introduce characters as they come in, the very next video in this playlist, Map 1 of Chapter 1, will be a bit longer than what the usual video length would be per map. This is because you start the game with 9 playable characters, and highlighting them all would take some time. Finally, as these videos are guides to the whole game, spoilers of the story are unfortunately unavoidable. While I don't plan to discuss the entirety of the game's plot, I will give a quick summary of the story leading up to the context of each of the maps. They will be quick and to the point. This video is not a lore summary, and while you will mostly understand what is going on, I will refrain from discussing the nuances and politics of this game, and the deeper lore, which I personally believe lends the game incredible intrigue that you must play and see for yourself, and I am not here to ruin that for you. With these disclaimers out of the way, please proceed to the next video when we begin the game proper. I look forward to taking you through this journey as you travel up and down Kaga's wild ride. See you soon.
Alright, well, that was a really helpful video. He provided like some extra videos as well. I think there's like a playlist. Let's see. Okay, there's a playlist. What is this, like a Berwick Saga playlist? Oh, he has like a whole guide. Okay, that's cool. That's a long. That's really long. He also like gave some
incredible
extra
intrigue
material
that you
yeah.
must play and see for yourself. I personally discovered is the new can carol but it's bad for example debtors also quick check by this extra layer specific unlike spoilers of the style of palatable after we begin the game proper. I look forward to first out of the way, please not here incredible intrigue that would be quick and to the point. The story while a game would take some time, as you will be as they them to and as such, my goal is to point out the things that each of your keys are able to do, and highlighting their individual abilities and weaknesses. Things that each is the same game, where the character's toolset is wholly unique to them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Formation, having never the Fire Emblem are uniquely different. I will not have time to go over all the things in Berwick Saga. I will instead point you to this excellent video by Rodi, where they use the map of Chapter 1 to teach you most of the mechanics.
Okay, the mechanics and stuff. A guide to find a strategy game. Guide Berwick Saga finest. It really is the best strategy game of all time.
In the wake of a recent boom in strategy RPGs, including remakes and remasters, chances are some of you out there are looking for another challenging yet fulfilling experience, but nothing else recent manages to catch your eye. If you've been perusing the internet searching for an intense and rewarding strategy RPG, look no further than Tearing Saga series, Berwick Saga, Lasberia Chronicle Chapter 174. Released in 2005 by Enterbrain for the PS2, and one of the finest games I've ever played. No other strategy game has perplexed me this much at first, but after playing for a while I found some of the deepest, yet balanced system mechanics I've ever seen. Of course, in a sense, deepest can also mean most complicated, and I realized that it can be daunting to just dive into this game. That's where this guide comes in.
Let's see.
I hope I'll be able to
hit
ease
him
you
with a
into
long
all the
spear.
game mechanics to help you get up to speed and enjoy Berwick Saga. While there is indeed an in-game tutorial with tons of explanations, it can be very overwhelming to go over all of it. I don't think I even read it myself. It's completely fine to learn as you play. If there's only a specific section you'd like to go over, feel free to click on the section's timestamp in the description. Let's start over from the title screen. Before starting a new game, I recommend changing some of the default options. I prefer the grid off. Feel free to keep it on. Show attack ranges on. Combat forecast.
Oh my
on.
god, I did it.
Show staff and skill range on.
Oh my god, I freaking injured him. And now I get to capture him and take the Sam Shear. And I get, what, T10. He's level 10. Okay, so then basically whoever's the closest to level 10 should take him for max experience gains. Or honestly, like the best level up. The best level roll. Alright, let's do it. Let's try with Ruby, actually. Let's see. Alright, hold on. I gotta save this. Alright, let's go with Ruby and see what she gains from this. Alright, so this should level her. Right? No. Okay. So, I think Ruby's a good candidate right now, but let's try with Sherlock and see what happens. Not enough for a level up either. Okay, so nobody levels up, I don't think. Maybe Sylvis. Even her, not really. Reese? Reese levels up, but he's so weak that it's not really worth wasting it on him. Miracle Charm? Nice. Who should I give Miracle Charm to? Let's ask Google Gemini. Who should I give Miracle Charm to? Volo is the number one candidate. Volo's deathmatch skill forces 5 rounds. Well, this is great. For killing bosses, it's risky because Volo is squishy. If the boss survives the first few hits and counters Volo, could die mid-match. Equipping a Miracle Charge on Volo allows him to use deathmatch against the game's most dangerous bosses like Chaos with total safety, even if the boss lands a lethal blow. The charm saves him, allowing him to finish the 5-hit combo and secure the kill. That's pretty broken. I like how this game is super impossible, but also super broken at the same time. I think that's good game design. You make the game impossible, but then you become overpowered, basically. You know, what happens when an unstoppable object meets an unmovable object kind of situation. Dean is your best axe user, but like Volo, his skills are double-edged swords. Dean uses Desperation, which allows enemy to counterattack. If you're using Dean to one-shot, the Miracle Charm acts as insurance. Faye is arguably the most fragile top-tier unit. She relies on Adept and Astro to delete enemies before they touch her. With her 1 base defense, almost any physical hit will kill her instantly from a mid to late game enemy. If you're training Faye, especially before she promotes and gets better bulk, the Miracle Charm prevents her reset if an enemy manages to land a lucky hit through her High Avoid. Any unit during the Chaos battle. In the final stages of the game, you will face Chaos, a boss who is notoriously difficult to kill and can one-shot almost anyone. Most players give their Miracle Trump to whoever their designated Chaos Slayer is, usually Volo, Fair, with Vertra or Dean. This ensures that even if Chaos triggers a deadly counter, your unit survives to land the finishing blow. Right, so obviously, so that's the final boss. So for Chaos, you just throw Volo in there with Deathmatch. And that's how you beat the game. Okay. Okay. It's pretty straightforward.
Set message auto-scroll to pause so you can scroll the game's text at your own pace, and feel free to set the message speed faster. Lastly, if you're playing on emulator or through an upscaler, I recommend setting screen flickering to sharp. The image will be clearer and text will be easier to read. Press X to exit the options menu after you're done. Now we can go ahead and start a new game. For your first playthrough, you'll have to create a system file for your memory card. After entering your name, you can proceed to watch the opening cutscenes. After you start the first map, you may notice these blue and red icons at the top right of the screen. These represent player moves and enemy moves respectively. But why does the enemy get to move 4 times in a row while you only get 1? In Berwick Saga, these are determined based on the ratio of player units to enemy units. In this case, the enemy outnumbers you about 4 to 1. However, the player always gets the first move at the start of a turn. At the beginning, you start with 5 units. The main character Reese, his second in command Ward, the 2 spear knights Leon and Adol, and lastly the archer Sherlock. Press triangle while highlighting them with the cursor to check their status screen, where you can see a unit's stats, items, and abilities. Within this screen, you can press triangle again to check further details on everything, including item details as well as the formulas used to calculate certain stats and abilities. Now that's a lot of info. With time, you'll get an intuitive understanding of everything, but let's just quickly go over the primary ones. Magic. How much magic damage you reduce. If the unit can use magic, this also affects your magic attack or healing. Strength. How hard you can hit. The total you have with the currently equipped weapon is shown as attack. Also, equipment weight is mitigated by half your strength rounded down. Defense. How much physical damage you reduce. Shield defense will be shown beside a plus. Speed. How well you can dodge. Your speed is reduced by equipment weight. It also affects whether or not you can get additional attacks. Movement. How many spaces you can move. Some terrain can cost more to move over based on your movement type, and some might not even be traversable. Weapon skill. These affect your accuracy with each weapon type or shield you're able to use. The numbers shown here are added to the base accuracy of your equipment for the corresponding type. Your accuracy with the currently equipped weapon is shown as hit. Remember, you can always press triangle in the status screen to double check how any of these work. Alright, enough about numbers and stats. Let's actually do something in this game. Press circle on any ally unit to bring up a menu of commands. Some actions can be done without spending the unit's turn, like changing equipment or trading items, but be careful as they will lock you into committing to that unit. Otherwise, you can always cancel by pressing X until you can move the cursor again, and then select another unit to move instead. Who would you pick here? I'm going to get Ward off his horse, move him here, change his equipment, and then end his turn. Looks like that guy's attacking him. With the combat forecast option turned to all, we'll be able to see this preview screen even on an enemy move. This definitely looks in Ward's favor. The enemy's attack is 12 with only a 48% chance of hitting, and Ward has 10 defense, meaning even if he gets hit, he'll only take 2 damage. Ward, on the other hand, has 23 attack and a 68% chance of hitting, and the enemy has 2 defense. The +4 indicates that if the enemy is able to block with his shield, he'll reduce an additional 4 damage. Let's see what happens. Looks like he takes the 2 damage. But wait, where's the counterattack? Actually, the general rule in this game is that if you get hit, you don't get to counter. If you dodge an attack, then you can counter as long as your weapon range matches the enemy. You may have noticed earlier that I unequipped Ward's shield. That's because I'm a hoarder and I don't want to waste his nice equipment on some worthless Chapter 1 grunts. That's right, equipment deteriorates in this game. Every time a weapon hits or a shield blocks, their durability will go down. The current durability of equipment is represented by the colored circle to the left of its name, and there are 5 levels in total. Note that there is a random chance that equipment will break even before reaching the lowest durability. Blue means completely new and won't break at all. Green means slightly worn with a 1% chance of breaking on hit. Yellow means fairly worn with a 2% chance of breaking. Orange means very worn with a 4% chance of breaking. And red means it's guaranteed to break on the next hit. By the way, you may notice that there is a rank associated with each piece of equipment. For example, the long spear has a rank of 8. This means that unless the unit is level 8 or higher, they will be unable to use it properly. For every level under the rank, there is an additional 5% chance of simply failing an attack. One last thing. There's also a reason I dismounted Ward. The damage a unit takes is also taken by the horse if they're currently riding one. And horses die when they are killed. Their HP is represented here. If you expect to take damage and don't intend to move too far, consider dismounting. You can always get back on your horse the next turn before moving. However, there are certain tiles that can only be accessed on foot. In those cases, you won't be able to mount until you move off that tile. Now back to where we were. Ward successfully pulled this enemy, so time to wail on him. Let's go ahead and attack with Adol. As long as Adol doesn't get hit, he can actually move again after an action since he's mounted. In the fan translation, this is known as Canto. The amount you can move is the remainder of the movement you didn't use before. In this case, he can move 1 space. Let's follow up with Leon, who has a supporter skill with Adol. If they're within 3 spaces of each other, they both get plus 20% accuracy and plus 4% critical. In addition, Leon has Deathmatch, enabling him to have up to 5 rounds of combat with an enemy who can retaliate. This poor fella ain't gonna make it out alive. Leon misses his first attack, but hey, that's what Deathmatch is for, right? Your other units also have their own special skills. For example, Reese is able to provide a 10% accuracy bonus to all allies within 3 hexes with his Commander skill, and Adol has Vantage, allowing him to attack first even when an enemy initiates on him, provided his attack speed is higher. Some skills are passive, but others are used as a command, like Leon's Deathmatch. Some of the command type skills can be used after moving, but others can only be used while stationary. Enemies can also have skills, so make sure you pay attention to their status pages. To finish up with the rest of the turn, let's move Reese and Sherlock over to the right. On turn 2, Dean and Izerna appear over on the right side of the map. Remember to check how many moves you have versus the enemy. Considering how many enemies will get to move, you should prioritize units in immediate danger like Izerna. She is very frail and needs to get out of harm's way. Dean will have to deal with this enemy here. Luckily, he dodges the attack, but he still can't counter. It looks like this enemy's weapon has a range of 1. Dean's, on the other hand, has a range of 0. In this game, both 0 and 1 range represent adjacent tiles on the map. However, they cannot counter each other in most cases. If we now hit this enemy with Dean, regardless if Dean misses or not, he won't have to worry about a counterattack. Dean will need to hold off the nearby enemies to make sure Izerna doesn't get hit. Be careful where you place Dean though. Terrain affects your dodge rate, and the cliffs nearby actually reduce dodge to 0. Other terrain such as forests instead give a slight boost to your dodge rate. Izerna can't quite reach the forest tiles this turn, but to increase her chances of survival, let's have her stand in one next turn. The rest of your team will need to head over as quickly as possible to help out. You can press R2 if you want to survey the entire map to help you formulate your plan. To exit this view, press R2 again. On turn 3, a cutscene will play inside this house, which will trigger a rescue mission where you must reach this house by turn 15. Once you make it here, you'll trigger an encounter with an enemy. These types of encounters do happen throughout the game when investigating areas, so be careful who you send in. Once you reach turn 5, you'll actually be able to save. Berwick Saga allows you to save in the middle of a battle once every 5 turns, so hopefully that'll help take some stress off. I highly recommend using all the slots available so you can load an older file just in case. Last but not least, if you're not happy with how things are going, you can hold select and then press start to open a menu that allows you to restart the battle, load a save, or go back to the title screen. I'll leave the rest of the first map to you. In the next section, we'll be going over what happens in between maps in the hub world of Navern City. After finishing the first map, you'll eventually arrive at this game's hub world where you'll be able to manage your unit's inventory and have access to things like shops for purchasing items and equipment, mercenaries for hire, and also receive side quests for the main mission or side missions that are played after the main map in each chapter. Firstly, inside the office you can speak with Tiana to save or load, sell any items you have, trade captured enemies for money through the monthly report, accept the next mission, decline a side mission, and lastly, advance to the next chapter if you've completed the main mission. In Reese's room, you'll be able to set up furniture as well as check for letters and gifts at his desk. The vault contains 2 bags, both of which you should just take and give to your units. Note that there is no shared master inventory you might be used to in other games. Anywhere within Navern, you can access a quick menu with the square button. You can change any options settings here, as well as return to the office. The Battle Party screen is where you can trade items between your units or otherwise manage their inventories. When trading, items are traded with the circle button. Bags are opened with circle and closed with X. If you want to trade bags themselves, press square instead. Square also allows you to do things like combining arrows or other weapons with numbered uses. While you can manage all units who are currently in your army, only the units added to your active party will be available to sortie for your next map. Before we move on to the rest of Navern, I highly recommend making a separate save after the end of each map before you make any substantial decisions or investments in regards to using your resources. Scattered around the areas in Navern are events and story-related scenes. You may see a notification next to an area describing the scene, and entering the area will start it automatically. Some scenes will result in you receiving optional quests for the main mission of the chapter, known as citizen requests, or result in optional side battles becoming available. You can confirm these afterwards by pressing square to access the quick menu and then selecting either the citizen requests or the side quests option from the info lists section. Be careful not to accidentally proceed to the next chapter before double checking if there are any events left over. Let's now take a look at what's available around the city. As you progress through the game, you'll come across more and more playable mercenaries who can be hired for a fee. Any mercenaries you hire will only join you for the current chapter, and once you move on to the next chapter, you'll have to rehire them if you wish. If you gave any items to a mercenary, you can retrieve them by selecting Trade Items. Items colored blue cannot be taken. Most mercenaries can be found in the guild, however some of them are scattered around other places like the tavern and abbey. The fee you pay is based on the specific unit and is also increased based on their level. So while some units may start off rather cheap, they'll eventually become expensive if they gain a lot of levels. However, hiring fees are halved after the main mission for the chapter has been completed. Deciding whether you need or don't need mercenaries, or just hiring specifically for a side mission to save resources, is always a consideration. One more thing. you'll need to make sure you have room in your active party before you can hire a unit. As you repeatedly hire and use mercenaries for missions, as well as feed them food, a hidden happiness stat will increase. Most mercenaries will eventually join you permanently after their happiness reaches a certain threshold and you complete a special side quest or side map. Some have more obtuse requirements, but I won't spoil those. Also within the Mercenary Guild, you can take a look at bounties. Killing those on the wanted list will net you the amount shown, but if you capture them instead, you'll receive double the money. Capturing is not easy, so we'll leave that for the end of this video. Outside the office, there are designated shops for swords and shields, spears and axes, and bows and arrows. The Varia Temple is where you can purchase magic and healing items. Most of the shop inventory is not unlimited, and unfortunately the number of available stock per item is not visible. Stock will replenish per chapter. The stables are where you can manage your army's steeds. There will be horses available for purchase, and in this case you will be able to see the current stock available. After purchasing a horse, you can assign them to anyone who can ride them. Note that this deletes their current horse if they have one, and there is no method to exchange any assigned horses other than using Chris's horse swap ability on a map. You can also find horses during a map, and after you end the map with horses in your inventory, they will be automatically brought to the stables where you can freely assign them. The atelier is where you'll be able to combine materials to craft items and equipment you normally would not be able to obtain. Some materials can be purchased from the merchant to the left. If you currently have materials in your inventory, you can actually store those materials to be combined later with the blacksmith or alchemist. You can take them back as well to use them for a different item. The loan shark is also located here. You can sell anything you don't currently need to get some quick cash, but repurchasing will cost more than the amount you sold for. Lastly, the man on the right sells furniture and home decor. There's no explicit indication, but they all have a special effect on Reese. That said, I didn't use any of these in my playthrough. Some of these effects might not mean anything to you right now, but feel free to reference these later in the link in the description. The Kingfisher Pavilion is where you can feed your units.